Yes. Good evening, folks. This is another presentation that is being brought to you by the PM Club of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And remember, PM stands for Projected Millionaires. All right? Folks, we want to talk to you this evening about a real serious problem in this country. And that is a lot of Americans do not save and invest enough to secure their financial futures. Okay? And there's an easy solution, but before we talk about the solution, let's talk about the problem. What is the actual problem? Americans do not invest and save enough for their financial future. That's a fact. Do you know that 55 million Americans have no retirement plans? 55 million, there are 200 million Americans in the workforce, and 55 million, a substantial amount, roughly about what, a third, do not have, or maybe a quarter, I don't know, do not have any type of retirement plan. What do you think these people are going to depend upon when they turn 65 or older? Okay? The rest of us who do have retirement plans, 401k plans, and what have you, do not put away enough. We do not put away enough. That's a fact. Get this, folks. I heard a statistic the other day from CNN. Only 48% of Americans invest in the stock market or invest in risk assets. Why is that? The remaining 52 are so fearful of risk assets that they have chosen not to invest in risk assets. I don't know. Too many Americans, if you will, this is a reality, this is part of the problem. Too many Americans are looking to Social Security for full retirement benefits. Social Security, however, was not designed to provide full retirement benefits. It was only designed to provide 15% of Americans' retirement benefits. Well, the obvious question that you would probably ask, who's responsible for the remaining 85%? You are. You're responsible. You, the American worker, the American retiree, whatever you want to call yourself, you're responsible. Now, even though Social Security is only responsible for 15% rather, of our retirement benefits, do you know that the trust funds, the Social Security trust funds, will not be able to provide that to many of us? And this will come as a shocker to many of you. But by the year 2032, the Social Security trust funds will become insolvent or bankrupt if the Congress does not act immediately to fund the trust funds. Okay? That is a fact. The initial strain will come in 2025 when the people whom I call the back-end baby boomers start to retire. They turn 65 or older and they're going to apply for Social Security benefits. Why will Social Security have a problem? Again, politicians raided the trust funds, in effect, to pay for wars. We've had, what? The Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, as well as ill-given rebates to taxpayers and other outlays that politicians use the trust funds money for. And all the trust funds have right now are a bunch of IOUs. Part of the problem too is that when a lot of these back-end baby boomers start to retire, there will not be enough workers in the labor force to fund their benefits. All right? This is a very, very significant problem. David Walker, and many of you probably don't know him, but I know David Walker because I'm a CPA and so is he, is the former Comptroller General of the United States. Mr. Walker stated recently, and if you don't believe me, you can do a search on YouTube and see some of his comments. He said that a severe fiscal crisis will hit the United States in the very near future. And I'm talking 10 to 15, maybe 20 years down the road. The fiscal crisis will be prompted by the heavy strain of entitlement funding. All right? Now, if you say, well, Clifton, I don't know who this David Walker is, and I don't believe anything he's saying. Okay, well, let's find another gentleman who basically addressed the same issue. Many of you probably heard of Stanley Druckenmiller. If you have not heard of Stanley Druckenmiller, let me tell you who he is. He is one of the premier fund managers or money managers in the United States. Mr. Druckenmiller is a well-respected money manager on Wall Street, and people basically heed his advice. Mr. Druckenmiller talked about the United States debt. He said that don't basically accept that $19 trillion that everybody's knocking around. He said that our debt, our national debt, is closer to $214 trillion. Why is that? Why is there such a huge differential? Again, the entitlement fundings must be a part of the national debt equation. This is Stanley Druckenmiller talking, not Clifton Rodriguez, Stanley Druckenmiller. Now, I have brought to you the problem. I've laid it out for you and I told you what the problem is, and I know many of you are still not moved by what I'm telling you. That's fine. But I want to offer some solutions to the problem. And the solution that I'm offering right now to many of you, and it's a simple solution that many of you can implement today, if you choose to do so. Start planning, start preparing for the financial crisis that Mr. Walker and Mr. Druckenmiller have both said will come. I'm going to tell you, we will first see signs in the year 2025. That's when I turn 65, and probably many in my generation turn 65 and start to apply for Social Security benefits. All right? How can we start today? We can invest in some investment vehicles called direct stock purchase and dividend reinvestment plans. They are also commonly called DRIPs. Some people refer to them as IRM 72s. They're also called $50 a month retirement plans. All right? These investment vehicles can create millionaires over time. I kid you not, folks. The key is consistent monthly investment coupled with reinvestment of dividends. The combined investment techniques create what we call geometric growth in the DRIP portfolios. Okay? Why use DRIPs as opposed to bank savings and CDs or even insurance companies' annuities? Why? Well, you know, Clifton, I don't want to put my money in the stock market because I don't want to lose it. My friends tell me that if you invest in the stock market, you're going to lose your money. Folks, let me tell you how often I hear that. Almost every time I talk to people. And I don't know where they're getting this information from, but I can tell you that I have been investing in the stock market since 1998. And I have made money. I haven't lost money. Let me give you an example of my situation. I started my DRIP plan back in November 2012 with $6,500. Okay? That $6,500 is now turned into almost $80,000. All right? I started with 4 stocks and now I have 18, including companies like Walmart, Costco, Anheuser-Busch, Honeywell, I have Hershey, Home Depot, Toyota. These are companies that I invest in. These are blue chip American companies. Well, Toyota is a Japanese company. Why invest in risk assets? Well, there's a simple reason. Banks simply do not pay competitive rates or returns on passbook savings and CDs. Imagine. If you're getting 1/4% or maybe 1/2, and if you're lucky, 3/4 or maybe a whole percent, 1% return on your money paid per annum. In other words, it's compounded once a year. Simple interest. How long do you think it'll take your money to double? Well, remember I talked about, I may have mentioned, if I didn't mention, I'll mention it now, the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is real simple. You take the number 72 and you divide it by the rate of return that you're getting on your investment, it will tell you how long it will take your money to double. So if a bank is paying you 1%, you take 72 and you divide it by 1%. And it would take 72 periods or 72 years for your money to double. Okay? That's how simple it is. Banks are not the solution to your problems.